What's going on, guys? Killer6 back with my Amara face cast build, and this one's a good one, dude. This build is a lot of fun. If you like running, gunning, destroying everything in sight, you're gonna like this build a lot, dude. You're gonna like this build a lot. Now, this build is kind of a melee Amara build, but kind of not, if that makes sense. It probably doesn't. You're probably sitting there going, what? It's kind of a melee build, but it's kind of not. Well, you see, the face puncher shotgun is considered melee damage, and in the hands of Amara with this build, this thing destroys everything in sight. Now, during my playthrough, I was using this 250 phase cast one, and I've been told that it's not really even that good, but I was still wrecking everything. I did the Guardian takedown, I did the Maliwan takedown, I did Proving Grounds, I did all the slaughters, I did everything with the 250 phase cast deep dive face puncher. And honestly, now that I've switched to the redundant face puncher with 300 of 90, I'm like, holy crap, I could have been doing even more damage, which is insane because I was already doing ridiculous amounts of damage. So let's drop down here and I'll show you what we can do versus Traunt with this build. So we're gonna hit him with a piss grenade, which will debuff him, allow him to take more damage. We hit him with one phase cast and one shot from the face puncher. He's dead. That's all there is to it. He's dead. This build is ridiculous and it's a ton of fun. If you like to run and gun, if you like to shoot people in the face, which, I mean, this is Borderlands. If you don't like those two things, what the hell are you doing here? Before we get into the skill tree, the only important parts in terms of the gear is the face puncher, the redundant face puncher. This thing can be farmed over on Eden 6 in Floodmore Basin from Moldoc the Anointed. Now, Moldoc the Anointed will drop this thing, I believe it's about 15% of the time. It's actually real easy to get face punchers from him. You can also get Maggies while you're there. You can also get the shooting star shield, but shooting star shield is kind of still derped out at the moment, so not really worth messing with that. In terms of the other gear, we have included a monocle with this, so if you do want to pop some heads, you can absolutely do that. This thing will absolutely take people's heads off. We got a more Lenoge with the 120 melee damage. I found this during the playthrough, and it has the 300 over 90, so it's a completely legit gun. We got a light show with phase cast. This thing, I just absolutely love this thing. Now, this one's non-elemental, but because of infusion in our skill tree, that will make it an elemental gun, essentially. The piece de la resistance in terms of the gear outside of the face puncher is this stopgap. Now, when my shield breaks, I get 5 seconds of immunity. Now, when that 5 seconds is up and I start taking damage again, I can use my action skill, because on action skill start, it will activate any effect that triggers on shield fill or break. So just by casting my action skill, I will then become immune for another 5 seconds. Boom, that's 10 seconds of immunity. Well, guess what? Since we're using Avatar, the capstone of the blue tree, this gives me a second use of my action skill without waiting on cooldown. So that is 15 seconds of immunity anytime I want it. And because I will get my action skill back so fast, I will be able to basically stay immune almost all the time. We use the piss grenade, make enemies take 20% increased damage for 6 seconds, and you can hit them, multiple times if you want. It doesn't stack, but you can hit them every 6 seconds to make them keep taking damage. The most important thing about this, though, is that you want to make sure that you get a piss grenade that has a element on it. So for example, on this one, action skill in gained 50% bonus radiation. So, and you always want to make sure that that is a different element, which of course with radiation it's going to be different element than the action skill element you're using. So if I was using fire, I would not want this to be a incendiary one. If I was using corrosive as my action skill element, then I would want to make sure that I'm not using a corrosive, it's piss. So always just make sure you keep that in mind. You want to stack your elements properly that way. So currently right now with my action skill, since there's nothing here, that means I'm doing shock damage. In terms of the rest of the gear, there's only one class mod you're going to need, and it is a phase Zerker. Ideally, you want to find one that has melee damage and action skill damage like we found during the playthrough. And if you guys haven't watched the playthrough, do yourselves a favor, go watch it. We had the craziest luck all the way through the playthrough, had a lot of fun. There was a lot of hilarity that happened, a lot of really cool drops, a lot of really funny stuff that transpired. Now, this one does have TD or weapon accuracy, which is absolutely worthless to us. Ideally, I would have loved to have some sort of Hyperion or, I don't know, even a Jacobs for that, but whatever. Doesn't matter. The melee and the action skill damage are plenty. we're using a Berserker White Elephant, so melee enemies to trigger Enrage, and Enrage will give you sprint speed, it'll give you fire rate, and it'll give you 10 seconds of both of those. In addition, the White Elephant part of this artifact gives you sticky bombs. It's a 30% chance to attach sticky bombs. So as you saw a moment ago when we killed Traunt, I only shot him once, but then all of those White Elephant sticky bombs went off, and that's what whittled down his health to nothing. So very, very strong. And we lucked out and we got this one that has mag size and melee damage and movement speed for what that's worth on it as well. In terms of the rest of the gear, there's a bunch of other stuff that is included with this build, none of which is really important at all. I did include my my OG phase cast phase puncher if you want to play the way that I played during the playthrough. We've also got a non-redundant phase puncher in case you're having trouble keeping your ammo up. Now, if for some reason you are having trouble with ammo, swap over to this Cut Purse Commander Planetoid, shoot an enemy once with your phase puncher, and you're going to be back to full ammo, and then switch back to your White Elephant. It's really that easy. All right, so this is an addendum to the video. I have discovered since I recorded the video that the phase cast 250% is actually really damn good. I mean, I kind of knew that from my playthrough, but I feel like I know that even better now, because here's what happens. So generally speaking, most bosses, when you hit them with that first shot on a 300/90, you're going to take them below the 90% mark, but you're not going to kill them. However, with the 250 phase cast version, you cast your phase cast and then you just spam the 250 into them. You're going to be doing that 250% damage non-stop. And even for mobbing, I kind of feel like this might be just the best all-around option in terms of the anointment that you want to go for. Now, I did try to farm on stream today. I tried to farm for a redundant version and I did not have any luck. So that would be one thing that I would recommend that you should try to get, is the redundant version. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys, I think that in general mobbing and most boss fights, that the 250 phase cast version is still going to be the best all-around option for the phase puncher. That said, on bosses like Traunt, you might be able to still one-shot him like I did at the beginning of the video by using the 300/90, but most of the time you're going to get better use out of the 250 phase cast anoint. And again, if you can find a redundant one, even better, because that's going to be more damage. All right, now in terms of the skill tree, we got 5 out of 5 in do harm. That is lots of extra damage. We got 1 point in violent tapestry. The only reason we put a point here is so we get those extra rush stacks. We got 5 in alacrity. I hope I said that right. This one gives you bonus reload speed for all of the stacks of rush that you have, and that lasts for 8 seconds, so it's 8 seconds of reloading fast as hell. 3 points in Transcend. This gives you increased accuracy and critical hit damage for a few seconds after activating your action skill. And I know what you're saying, K6, Face Puncher doesn't do crit damage. Why bother with that? Well, it does do crit damage if you are using one of these anointments. Action skill end, bonus blank elemental type damage for 10 seconds. And what that does is that gives you an extra projectile on each shot that will be a radiation damage projectile, and those can crit. So that's extra crit damage with this as well. We got 4 points in Restless to get our cooldown going really fast on the action skill cooldown. We are using Reverberation. This one, when you cast out a phase cast, every enemy that gets hit by your phase cast takes additional damage. Laid Bare, we got increased damage. We got Wrath for increased damage. We got Remnant. This thing is the ball of death that you will see flying around occasionally. Super strong. You only need a single point in that. Anything more than a point is a complete waste of your skill points. I'll show you that here in a moment. Avatar, again, like I said, having this allows you to cast twice without waiting for cooldown. It's very strong. Red Tree, we going with Anima. This gives you status effect damage, duration, and action skill status effect damage as well. Got a couple points in Infusion, really. You only need a single point there. Then we got 5 out of 5 in Tempest. This gives extra elemental damage, including bonus shock damage. We got Eliminated Fist. This gives you bonus melee damage, and your melee damage is converted to your action skill element, so you're getting more shock damage with that as well. Or if you swap to fire or corrosive as well. Either way, you're getting more elemental damage out of it. Wildfire, this allows stat effects to spread to other nearby enemies. We got 3 in Indiscriminate. This will allow your shots to ricochet and do extra damage, including action skill ricochet damage as well. We got Deep Well for mag size. We got a single point in sustainment. You only need 1 point in this. I will say this though, when you hit level 65, if you want to put a couple of extra points in this, it's not going to hurt anything to do that, because really these other skills aren't super great. So if you wanted to put, you know, 2-3 points here, that's fine. Basically with one shot of your face puncher though, with sustainment and infusion, you're going to be back to max health. To really, you can mess around with these two skills if you'd rather. Just make sure that when you go to hit level 65, when the level cap increases, that you leave 1 point remaining so you can put it on forceful expression, because that's going to give you bonus elemental damage of 18% of damage dealt. Personal space is one of the more important skills in the green tree. This thing gives you bonus damage the closer you are to targets, and believe it or not, you have about the distance of a boss to, you know, 2-3 cars of distance between you and an enemy that this thing actually works at. So it's very good. You can put 2 points in either clarity or 2 points in root to rise. Clarity is not really important. You're going to get your healing from sustainment, so I say just put it in root to rise. It gives you extra health. Got 3 points in arms deal, so I do extra splash damage, and I get splash damage reduction, which is nice. I've got 2 points into helping hands. That gives me 21% damage reduction for 15 seconds after using my action skill. So basically, I will non-stop have 21% damage reduction the way my build is set up. We got a single point in Find Your Center for increased melee damage, and for a few seconds after using your action skill, you get increased melee range. In case you literally want to punch somebody, you will be able to punch them up to 75% further away than you did before, and that lasts for 20 seconds that you will have additional 100% melee damage, which works really well with the face puncher. For the action skill augment, we're using Revelation. This actually does get Mayhem scaling, so it does really well, even though it says negative 15% action skill damage. As you can see, when we go and we kill some people, you're going to be like, oh well, it's not even noticeable, that extra 15%. And being able to Nova with Mayhem scaling is very, very nice. A couple other things to note about this build is you do want to make sure that you are at least down to here with your guardian rank, so you get overkill, because this gives you excess damage from each kill added to your next shot. If you can get down to here with your green tree, your hunter tree, and the guardian ranks, that gives you extra cooldown rate. And one of the most important ones is Groundbreaker. Melee attacks or slam will trigger an aftershock, dealing 25% of all non-melee damage that you have dealt over the last 5 seconds. So for example, if I phase cast and hit these dudes, now my next shot is going to be a Groundbreaker shot, and that's going to do even more damage than before. So again, cast, then shoot, and then you've got Groundbreaker working for you. So it's very strong. You're gonna love this build, guys, I promise you. And let's see if we can get another one of these death balls floating around so you guys can see the damage that the thing hits with. All right, we'll hit these dudes, hit both of them. The death ball's trying to find somebody to go kill. It couldn't figure it out. Let's see if this one will hit somebody. Boom, as you can see, 94 million with the remnant ball. And let's hit another guy, another 5 million on that one. Not as strong, but still very strong. Not as strong. There's 43 million. So yeah, as you can see, this build is pretty ridiculous, man. And like I said, by using the stopgap shield and timing your action skill to work in conjunction with that, you're going to be able to stay basically invincible all the time. So that's the build, guys. I hope you guys enjoy this build. It's very strong. It's able to do the Guardian takedown. It's able to do true takedown on Guardian or Maliwan takedown. Either one, you won't have any problem doing any of that content. You can see me do all those during the playthrough if you want. It's a fun build, man. You guys are gonna love it. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe, tap the bell icon to be notified anytime I post any more Borderlands content. I cover everything Borderlands. So I hope to see you guys in the next video. Y'all have a great day.